This is Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. It's 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. A lot's happened in the world of cricket yesterday, and if you're here tuning in, it's probably because you have missed out or you like Megha or I and you like listening to us blabber and talk about cricket. And this is what we do every day at 8 a.m. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Before we talk about whatever has happened in the world of cricket, yeah, like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into it.
Like, share, and subscribe. That's pretty much all that we have by the way of call to action for you. Now, call to action for us. Samson Karthik spinners set up CSK's clinical win. Chennai Super Kings came into IPL 2026 with a dodgy look about their bowling attack. They lost 3 games straight away, where their bowlers picked up 10 for 588 at an economy rate of 11.37. Since then, there has been an absolutely stunning turnaround. Over the last 7 games, CSK's bowlers have scooped up 51 wickets. Only Gujarat Titans 52 have more at an economy rate of 8.15, which no one can match. Given first use of a slow pitch, Akhil Hussain and Noor Ahmed took charge of proceedings. Delhi Capitals could only put up 155 for 7, which proved too little as the surface got better to bat on in the second innings. Sanju Samson, who has now contributed 24% of CSK's runs this year, finished things off with 87 not out of 52 balls. Karthik Sharma, growing in confidence, was alongside him with 41 of 31. Both captains expected the pitch to be slow. The scoring pattern of the first 4 overs confirmed it. 15 dot balls, 6 boundaries, 3 singles, and a wicket, with the batter trying to force the pace. In conditions where the ball comes on to the bat, KL Rahul and Pathum Nasanka might have been able to hit the gap with the shots they played of good length balls. On this one, as much as they tried, they just found the fielder. Worse, they found themselves having to hold their shape for longer, and even that didn't always work. This was all in the power play.
Now, for those of you who don't know, holding shape would mean that holding basically you can't slog, right? You can't blindly swing the bat and hope it connects and hope that it goes for a boundary or a six because the pitch is slow, so you have to play it with the merit of the ball. Now, if you don't know what on the merit of the ball means, it's basically playing the right shot for the particular ball itself. You can't manufacture a shot, you have to play a particular shot and the right kind of shot, very textbook shot making to a particular kind of ball. Now, Chennai Super Kings should take a leaf out of this book because this is the exact kind of pitches that CSK used to dominate over the IPL in the last couple of years, especially at home. This happened to be at Delhi, and you saw slow pitches and you saw the Chennai Super Kings dominate. And this is what a lot of fans have been longing for in the sense that make your home your den again, make your home the strong part. Now, there was some pitches at home for the Chennai Super Kings that was slow, that was assisting the spinners. But these are the kind of pitches that CSK used to dominate on, and you have to be making pitches at home that you can possibly dominate because you're playing half of the games at home, or at least I think half of the games at home. But yeah, this should be a lesson for them, and Sanju Samson coming back into form is great. We'll also talk about Utaraj Gaikwad, the captain. The captain himself has been a bit problematic, but more than that, it's the amount of runs he's been scoring and the rate at which he's been scoring. But we'll come to that in a bit.
Well, that's as holistic an answer as it gets with popular cricket terminology as well explained. Want to clean a few things up? Raidu appointed HCA as a director of cricket operations. Ambati Raidu, the former Hyderabad captain and India player, has been appointed head of cricket operations at Hyderabad Cricket Association. His 3 year term starts immediately. It is a great opportunity to clean up a few things, Raidu wrote on X, but I'm more excited to see the immense cricketing talent in Hyderabad and Telangana flourish and produce more players to represent the country. Raidu's new role will close a chapter that took center stage in 2019 when he alleged rampant corruption at the HCA. At the time, Raidu had said decisions at the HCA politicized team selections. After that incident, Raidu left Hyderabad in 2019-20 season and finished his domestic career with stints at Andhra and Baroda. That was not the first time he had left Hyderabad for other teams. After making his debut in 2001-2002 as a 16-year-old, he moved to Andhra for one season in 2005-6 before returning to Hyderabad in 2006-7. That second Hyderabad stint lasted till 2009-10. Raidu's third and final time with Hyderabad as a player was between 1718 to 1920.
Now, if you are a South Indian and growing up trying to play professional cricket, regardless of which state you're from in South India, I mean, I say South because I don't know how it's perceived in the Central or the North or the Northwest, Northwest or the East. But if you are a professional cricketer or trying to be one while growing up in South India, you know one thing. Every time you listen or every time you talk about HCA, Hyderabad Cricket Association, you know you have almost nothing good to say because of the amount of corruption that was going on about and possibly still going on about. It's stories you hear while growing up. You don't have any concrete evidence because you're not from that state or the city. So I wouldn't know how much of it is true, but it is something almost everyone knows. It's almost like an unsaid rule where HCA is one of the worst cricketing boards, at least as compared to the cricketing boards in South India again, because of the things that goes on about in the board itself. Half of the decisions aren't taken for the board or for the sport, it's taken for the people running the board, and that's never been a good thing. Also, why the first thing Raido says is cleaning up the cricketing board and cleaning up the functionality of the board itself, because you want a cricketing board to be running for the sport, for that city or for that state or for that association. And as of now, HCA has struggled to do that, especially in the last couple of years. We have seen and heard and read so many news about people running the board and being thrown out, and the discussions happening, and half of the people aren't happy, and people who do speak up aren't part of the board ever again or ever to be seen. And I hope Raido changes that for good, because yeah, Raido knows what it's like when things are politicized. Wow, that is a word too. It is a difficult word to say. It's Raido knows what it's like to be played with politically, and so hopefully for his sake, especially because he's a former cricketer, he's part of the broadcasting team as well. So he knows what it's like to be in that environment. Hopefully, he cleans things up for Hyderabad.
Politicized. Politicized. Yes, we got it now. Moving on. Need to limit the power play. Vittori Hadden brace for Travishek versus Prabh Arya. With Punjab Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad set to face off, the spotlight will be on two of the most explosive opening pairs. SRH's Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head have operated together at a strike rate of 208.05 this season, putting together 543 runs across 10 innings. The only pair to outpace them are PBK's Prabsimran Singh and Priyansh Arya, who have gone at a staggering 242.5 in 8 innings. PBKs are currently number one on the table and SRH are third, but both sides are coming into the game on the back of losses. Two on the trot for PBKs and one for SRH. In games where their respective opening pairs fail to fire, SRH coach Daniel Vittori says parallels exist between the two teams, particularly their reliance on quick starts, and expects another high scoring contest in Hyderabad. In both of PBK's losses, they, that is the opening pair, obviously didn't get a score. So that puts a different perspective on how you go about the game. Vittori said, it's the same for us. We know when Travis and Abhishek get away, how much it sets up a team performance, and it's exactly the same for Punjab. So a lot of emphasis on those two batters and how we are going to cope with them. That opening combination has been incredibly impressive, and they've had complementary performances from the majority of their batting lineups. In a lot of ways, they're like us. They are very aggressive with the bat, and then they just try and mitigate anything they can with the ball. So they're pretty well planned and have a good understanding of what they're going to do. You'd anticipate a high scoring game, and it's a bowling unit that can deal with that pressure, really.
Now, something with Abhishek Sharma and Travis said that triumphs a little more than Prabh Singh and Priyan Sharia is the amount of runs that they have scored this season as a partnership. They're the only pair, they're the only opening pair in this IPL to score more than 500 runs. In fact, they're touching up on 573 runs across 10 innings with an average of 57. I cannot tell you the run rate because cricket for whatever, sorry, stats guru for whatever reason has some problems. But yes, but Prabhsimran Singh and Priyan Shara triumph them because they score at a much higher strike rate, not much higher strike rate, but a little more. And that's saying something. When you look at Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, you think they're the pinnacle of the impact player rule, of the kind of impact that they have had as an opening partnership since the impact player rule. But to say that Prabhsimran Singh and Priyan Shara are striking more than them says something about their strike rate and the way they're going about playing cricket. But Daniel Vittori is right. it will be a clash of the power play, who takes on the power play and who does a better job, because of the kind of style in which both of these guys go about playing. But that being said, both the number threes, number fours, and number fives aren't as if they're going to settle down, because you have someone like a Nishan Kishan, Henrik Klassen for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, and then you have someone like a Shreyas Iyer and Connolly for the Punjab Kings. So even if there's a wicket falling in the power play, they're going to continue to strike big.
Talking about striking big, we're talking about money now. Royal sale controversy. Outcome doesn't reflect a level playing field, says Somani led group. The consortium, comprising high profile sports investors based in the USA, which had made the highest bid to buy Rajasthan Royals as well as the franchise's other teams, that is PAL Royals in the SA20 and Barbados Royals in the CPL, in March, has said that it is both surprising and disappointing to see the deal going to another consortium helmed by Indian origin businessman Lakshmi Mittal. On Sunday, it was announced that Mittal, along with Adar Poonawalla, another prominent Indian businessman, had brought the Royals franchise for US $1.65 billion, which topped the 1.635 billion US dollars bid of the USA based investors. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the USA based consortium, led by the Arizona based tech entrepreneur Kalsomani, and including owners of two franchises in US based NFL, Rob Walton and Michael Hemp, son of Sheila Ford Hamp, who owns Detroit Lions, said the decision by the Royals board to grant the franchise ownership to another consortium did not reflect a level playing field. It is understood that the Somani led consortium had made the top bids across 4 rounds of bidding, pipping several rivals, including Mittal, who contested independently at the time and is believed to have made a highest bid of 1.1 billion US dollars. We're deeply disappointed not to be a part of the Rajasthan Royals ownership group following a long 6 month process in which we were the lead bid from start to finish, the consortium said in a statement. Our consortium worked tirelessly to assemble a distinguished group of investors with ownership experience across the NFL, MLB, EPL, La Liga, and TGL. Included in the group were selected global superstars from the top tiers of professional sports. We were all motivated by the opportunity to help take the IPL to new international heights. It is understood that the final decision was arrived at by the Royals board over the weekend, that is May 2nd to 3rd.
I'll tell you what. This is it for me. This has been the news. As much as what she's read about it is all I know about it. When it comes to money, buying teams, and everything that goes on about money behind the scenes in the IPL or in life, in fact, this would tell you how much I know about. I mean, that's not true. Let's just say in the IPL. That's basically how much I know. What I'll tell you is something I talked about last week, unless Megha has something to add. What I did say is, hopefully when the new ownership does come around for the Rajasthan Royals, the way they go about operating the team does not change, because that is what you would hope for as an RR fan. With the way you know how the RR scouts work, you know how deep they go into finding Indian talent. Hopefully, with the new ownership, none of that changes, because that's what they're known for, and that's what's bringing them whatever success that they have, that has come about. And so hopefully that doesn't change. Unless Meg has something to add, this is it for me with this news.
So ahead of the IPL, we heard the announcement that it's actually Kal Somani based consortium, and they obviously also brought in a lot of sports investors from around the world that had won the bid for Rajasthan Royals. When it was also announced that the Birla Group led consortium had backed the rights for Royal Challengers Bangalore. So, nonetheless, but there were developments subsequently, and as per those developments, it was Mittal based consortium that eventually backed Rajasthan Royals. So, Kal Somani now understandably has not taken that well, and as of now, we are not privy to what transpired in between. But what he's saying is that it's not a level playing field. So, the things that happen in between, which also implies that the understanding between the Rajasthan Royals and the Kalsomani based group broke down at some level. Now, remind you, Manoj Bagdale, who has been associated with Rajasthan Royals since its inception, is also a part still of Rajasthan Royals and will continue to be a part, although his ownership shrinks to 8%. And obviously, it's Lakshmi Mittal, the steel magnate, and there is Poonawalla, who we'd associate with Serum Institute of India, who have backed the rights. Now, moving
There you
on to
go.
Bumrah. Bumrah and his workload. So, does he need a break? I thought that probably Ashwin, with all the speaking that he had done, needed a break. So, offered him a little bit. Sit and have a chat with him, our experts say. Well, Jasprit Bumrah has been a constant talking point in IPL 2026, and much of it has been about how he hasn't been picking up wickets, how his pace is down, and how Mumbai Indians haven't always used him right. And about members of the MI setup coming out and saying things like Bumrah is up for the challenge, and when the time comes to get wickets, he'll get wickets. There were no wickets for Bumrah on Monday night at the Wankhede against Lucknow Super Giants, the seventh such game for him this season, and 45 runs were given. Enough for Sanjay Bangar and Veda Krishnamurti to suggest that team management should speak to Bumrah and ask him if he wants a break. We are in that space, and the management or coach or even captain, Suryakumar Yadav is pretty close to him. He's the vice captain of the squad, and Rohit Sharma is around. They can probably honestly sit and have a chat. Veda said on ESPN Cricket Info's timeout show. Ask him, are you feeling 100% from within? Do you want to take a break for a game or so? So that he comes back fresh. That is something you can probably ask him and expect him to answer you honestly. Now, I was wondering one thing. If he's given a game's break, that would provide him, say, break of 3 days, 4 days at best between two games. How does that change a lot of things? Like just a couple of days extra, would that change him?
Yeah, honestly, that doesn't change all that much. You either give him a week off or two
Yeah.
weeks off, but then because you're the Mumbai Indians and because you find yourself in this position, can you afford to do that? But interestingly, more than
Hmm.
anything, I think when players from the outside or just people from the outside, you can do a lot of things, right? You can look at numbers and speculate
Hmm.
things. You can look at numbers and talk about how the players out of form. You can look at technique and talk about how that's changed because all of that is tangible because you can see it. When you from the outside think about mental fatigue for a player, especially for someone like a Jasprit Bumrah, it always makes me question: Are we the right? Are we the right people to be speculating all of that? If Bumrah is feeling the mental fatigue, I'm sure he's not immature enough to not talk about it, unless it's a difficult environment to talk about, and it's just difficult for him to talk about mental fatigue, which then I can understand. Then there's nothing immature about it, but I'm sure he is in a position, not only in the team, but to be the best fast bowler in the country and to be in the position to be able to talk about it. I'm hoping that the Mumbai Indians have that environment where if you are mentally tired, you can talk about it. I remember Glenn Maxwell, for example, taking a break from the team, not Mumbai Indians, but I think Punjab Kings. But yeah, I would hope that if Bumrah is feeling all of these things, that he is able to talk about it, he is able to have those conversations and be realistic because it's okay. You can be out of form. The problem is that he's Jasprit Bumrah, right? He set the standard up so high that if he has an ordinary season, people think he's tired, people think he's out of form. Well, so be it. I mean, but I'm just hoping if he is mentally tired, he should be able to talk about it. I just don't think it's right for us from the outside to speculate it because it's just not the right thing to do.
Hmm. And just to correct a mispronunciation, Manoj Badale. Uh, Nonetheless, we move on to a meme which might, on the at the start, look like a very normal image until you notice the color of the jersey.
Yeah, Rituraj Gaikwad 6 of 13. Well, everything's the same except the jersey that he's wearing. He's wearing the red ball format jersey. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise. This isn't even a meme at this point because it's honestly the truth. Because if you look at all the batters to at least score 200 runs in this IPL, and mind you, I said all the batters, sure, to at least score 200 runs, but 200 runs is decent. Any lower order batter could also score 200 runs in the IPL. So, again, for a batter to at least score 200 runs in this IPL, Ruturaj Gaikwad, the opener of a team, has the lowest strike rate, and that's saying something. To
And
be
what's that
fair, the huh?
broadly? What's that broadly now after this innings?
Oh, it's 120,
Huh.
just 120 flat,
Taking us back to
120.0.
2008 9.
Yeah, exactly, which is insane, right? And interestingly, the second on this list is Rishabh Pant, and that says something about where they are in the T20 format. But yeah, it's insane when you think about. See, Rishabh Pant has hardly. I mean, to be fair, a couple of years ago he did have a good IPL season, but you would never
Yeah.
consider him a T20 batter after his initial IPL season because he's just had a fall off. Ruturaj
After
Gaikwad,
2020.
yeah, Ruturaj Gaikwad isn't that. He is a better T20 batter than what he seems to be at the moment. But even he struggled last year. He wasn't part of most of the
Hmm.
games last year because of an injury, but this year especially he hasn't been able to adapt himself to the game, to the pitches, to the conditions, variety of pitches and conditions, and even bowlers. And for him to have the lowest strike rate just says something about how he's going on about batting for the team. And the problem is, I think Praatibh talked about this a couple of days ago. The problem is a lot of batters are batting around him, and now they've realized that they can't bat around him. They have to be bat independently, because batting around him doesn't make sense if you're not scoring any runs. And he's not scoring any runs. He's had a couple of 50s, but again, at a low strike rate. Yeah, it's just a sad state of things for Ruturaj Gaikwad, because he was someone who was looked at in the T20 format, even though he was not high up in the batting, high up in the lineup in terms of the selector's eye for the Indian team. He was there in the ODI format this year, last year, where he scored 102, so good on him. But yeah, it's just sad state of things for the captain of a franchise, especially if you're an opener. Think about Rishabh Pant and Ruturaj Gaikwad, the lowest strike rates for someone to at least score 200 runs. God damn. But yes, that's been the news for the day. Today's game will be interesting, like we've already gone about. Sunrisers Hyderabad versus the Punjab Kings. Shreyas Iyer needs some runs. He hasn't scored any runs in the last couple of games. Two games, not couple of games, two. And yeah, and it will be interesting to see how the openers go about scoring runs for each of their team. If you missed that, come back tomorrow at 8 a.m. And if you think IPL is the only thing that's going on in the world of cricket, you might be wrong, because come back tomorrow at 8 a.m. to find out more. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. This is Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.